Well, that was a good thing to come back to. So if I seem just a little bit out of it today, I'm tired. I've been run a little bit ragged over the past few days, but you know who hasn't been run ragged are the Boston Bruins. So, Bruins fans, it is time to hug it out, because that is a 5-2 victory over the Minnesota Wild. Welcome back to Into the Den, everybody. I'm not gonna lie, this was probably the game in the 5-game road stretch that I was the second most worried about. We're past the game that I was most worried about. I was kind of I was most worried about that game against Winnipeg, because Winnipeg had all their pieces. I didn't know until this game that I had to start watching at like 4:00 in the afternoon. So the game was pretty much freaking what is it? Who is it? Freaking Loqual has already put up his freaking analysis of the game before I'm even like in 15 minutes before I even start recording this. But I guess might as well say where I was. I was at a trans rights protest in Boston because this country has been really, really bad for trans rights. It's over the past few days. Not even days, weeks, months, years. It's kind of sucked. So, along with a bunch of other queers in Boston, I marched, I screamed, I chanted, and now my legs feel like they cannot move for another few days before I do anything else. But I don't necessarily need to go anywhere because the Bruins have but it's not like I'm gonna be bored while I'm just bedridden for the next few days because the Bruins once again still are in a really, really aggressive schedule. Well, this being the fourth game they've played on the road in like 6 days. No, 7. And Minnesota is a playoff team, and despite the fact, now this is what made it the second most concerning game for me. Even though Minnesota, by all means, was the best team in this entire road trip, they with a 14-game point streak, the longest in their franchise history, they have done it without Jonas Brodin, Marcus Foligno, and most of all, without Kirill Kaprizov. So they're without. When I hear this, part of me is like, they've been able to do this without these players. That is insane. But then I realize they don't have these players against the Boston Bruins. And you could point to earlier in the season where we had where we had our insane start without Grzelcyk, without Marchand, without McAvoy. You could definitely point to that as 3 players don't make the entire roster, but at the same time, these are key pieces of this of your core, and you managed to rattle off at least 1 point in 14 consecutive games without them. I don't think that the Bruins have managed that this season. Not that being this good without your star players. They've done that. They have done that a lot. They did that pretty much the entire start of the entire first month of the season and the entire month of January without Jake DeBrusk. They been there, done that pretty much. But I don't think that the Bruins have had a 14-game point streak this season. They had a 10-game win streak, which freaking fantastic, amazing. But that's not even the longest win streak of the season. I think that didn't the Devils have like a 13-game win streak this season that only got stopped because the refs had made like 3 of their goals come back because Matt Murray kept knocking the goal off the pegs. I'm sorry, was that too contentious for the NHL refs? I bet. I'll drop the subject. Because what we have right now is a matchup between the Bruins and the Wild. And despite the fact that the Bruins have been struggling a little bit, even this is still a good team. This is still a good, like, you can say all the things that you want about the power play. This is still a good team. This is still a good Bruins team. And it definitely looks that way for the first few shifts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Nailed it. The Bruins are definitely looking like the better team for the first few shifts. Especially that third line. That third line of Bertuzzi, frickin' Coyle, and Frederick. That is a fantastic third line. And it almost makes me wonder what's going to happen when Hall comes back. Because things are trending to him coming back as soon as like next week. Things are trending to him coming back a lot sooner than expected. So what? Do you have... Sorry. What? Do you just have him as... do you have him as like the third... as like... I don't know. What do you want to do with this, Monty? That's what I want to know. How are you going to shuffle around this lineup? Are you going to put Bertuzzi on the fourth line, and are you going to make the fourth line in Foligno, Bertuzzi, Lauco, and just have 4 freaking scoring lines? That would actually be cool. Take that to heart. Take that to heart, Monty. You can have that idea because that actually sounds freaking cool. Just imagine that. A team that is literally all gas, no brakes. All gas on that offense. Literally no freaking brakes on it. Although maybe they need forwards who can play defense, and it's not named Bergeron or Krejci. Because even though the Bruins absolutely win in the first few shifts, they play a little bit too far up, and it results in Minnesota's second line absolutely just tic-tac-toeing right in front of Ullmark with Marcus Johansson getting the chip in on the 1-0 score. Like, I will say this. I will be the first to say this. Is Marcus Johansson, Joel Eriksson-Ek, and Matt Boldy is a fantastic line. Like, those 3 together are really good. I wouldn't say that they're like like one of the best second lines in the league. I think the Bruins have... the checkmate line is fantastic. Toronto has a really good one with, I think, like Tavares, Matthews, and... Not Matthews, Marner. And I think Nylander is also on that second line. And that is a really good one. There are fantastic second lines all throughout the league, but for what it's worth for Minnesota, that is a really good one, I would say. I would say that's a really good one. And hey, it gets them the first goal of the game. And shortly after, Marchand ends up going for tripping. Now, well, apparently we took so many penalties against Winnipeg, and since we killed all of them and we didn't give up a single goal the entire game, we managed to single-handedly through that game go from third place in penalty kill all the way back up to first place. That's amazing. I love you, Swayman. I love you, Jeremy Swayman, and I love you, Linus Olmark, because with the top penalty kill unit in the league versus the 10th best power play unit, Bruins kill it. I don't think the Bruins allow a single power play goal all this game. Actually, no, they don't. Actually, no, they do. They do. Never mind. My bad. Looking through my notes. Now, a little bit later on, a little bit after this, this penalty dies, and by a little bit after this, I mean like immediately after, Matt Dumba ends up scoring, and we all, and immediately they're like, okay, is this coming back? Because Monty, you beautiful bastard. Dude. You know, I don't think many people knew how much damage that Matt Duchene in offsides goal was going to cause, because honestly, with most of these offsides goals that get called back for being offsides, you could definitely make the argument that that you should not be allowing that goal in the first place. But if and we will get into that a little bit later on. We will get into why that rule is stupid later on. But just Monty, knowing that that's the case, that if the play is offside, it's going in no matter what, if there's a goal there, it goes back. That is just amazing. That is just amazing. And it goes back. It goes back. Matt Dumba's goal, off the boards. It's back down to 1-0. And Olmark is so elated that he pretty much wants you to draw him like one of his French goalies. He's flailing around. He's doing this. He's leaping everywhere, here, there, everywhere. He's making all of the saves that need to be made in this first period, except for that one against Johansson. Never. And oops. And on the puck coming back the other way, the top line in Bergeron, Marchand, and DeBrusque. Fantastic playing from all three of them tonight. Today. Honestly, those three played incredible. Well, one of the some of the most cohesive I've seen that line play in a few games, and it's such a nice return to form. Marchand's mucking it up, battling for the puck. Bergeron's got the puck. Bergeron ends up with it. He passes it to open space where DeBrusque just snipes it right past Philip Gustafsson, and who, by the way, he absolutely should. If you're going to if we're gonna be going for Calder, if we're gonna be talking about Calder nominees for this season, Matty Beniers is one of them. Absolutely. You can make an. I feel like honestly Minnesota has the other two. Actually, Shane Pinto was doing really good in Ottawa. But if you want to know who two of mine are, Kalen Addison. Kalen Addison is actually a really fantastic defenseman for Minnesota. And he had a pretty good game today, although I didn't really hear his name too much. But Philip Gustafsson, oh my God, when Fleury's gone, Minnesota's gonna be fine for goalie. When Fleury leaves, they are going to be just fine for in terms of goalie, because this guy, oh man, you better watch out. You better watch out, because he certainly is watching that puck everywhere it goes. But this time, he watches it go behind him and over his top shoulder and into the net. God, I love Jake DeBrusk. He's so good at sniping. Like, I know we all know that Cassidy was holding him back. That's why immediately after he got fired, almost immediately after Cassidy got fired and Monty got hired, Jake rescinded his trade request. And I know we were talking, and I know we all think that he rescinded his trade request as soon as he got that extension, but no, he never formally rescinded that trade request. Instead, we just sort of just forgot about it, and then he formally rescinded it after Monty came in. And honestly, it makes so much sense now. That pretty much ends the first period. Second period starts, and Bertuzzi falls down, and that is way too many skates near him. Oh my god! I just about had a panic attack for Bertuzzi there. That could have ended horribly. Blood everywhere. And Bertuzzi maybe not coming back for the rest of the season. And if Bertuzzi doesn't come back for the rest of the season, Monty's going to have to do the unthinkable. He's going to have to give Jacob Lauko more minutes. Which, by the way, he should. Jacob Lauko deserves more minutes. If anything, over the past few days, Jacob Lauko has proven that he is willing to push himself to the point where he deserves the roster spot more than AJ Greer. AJ Greer is good at mucking it up and drawing and maybe drawing penalties, but he's also good for taking a lot of penalty minutes. Meanwhile, you have Lauko, someone who is dedicated to the craft of trying to actually puck hounding and trying to score. That I feel more comfortable with Jacob Lauko in the lineup than in AJ Greer at this point. But that's beside the point. Second period turns into a standard second period for the Bruins nowadays. Not in that we played bad, although I feel like honestly this was a really good period for the Bruins, all things considered. But more so that oh my god, I think we had more time played on both on uneven strength than we did on even strength for this entire period, and that is not counting the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties for Mason Shaw and Garnet Hathaway, which both penalties die. Both penalties were doomed to die. Were supposed to die in the first place there because you can't really score a power play goal when both of you are down a guy. But anyway, John Merrill, he ends up being the guy that draws most of the ire for this one. He ends up with two penalties, both of which for slashing. The first one he doesn't score. First one, Bruins with now the 11th best power play unit in the league. It's starting to feel like we have a bottom 5 power play unit in the league. Versus the 12th best penalty kill unit in the league. Bruins don't score. And then shortly afterwards, Merrill ends up going again. I forget what this one was for. I'm not gonna lie. I was really tired. There may have been a few moments where I just freaking fell asleep. But Merrill ends up going to the box again, and David Pastrnak, he finally breaks the drought. 21 consecutive games without a power play goal, and he breaks it on number 22 right here. Fantastic work from Pastrnak. Pastrnak with his 47th, one away from tying his career best at 48. That was when he scored 48 in that COVID shortened season at 70 games. Fantastic play from him. He does a slight pump fake. It's a at this point that Pastrnak we've seen plenty of times at this point that Pasternak loves to do his loves to do a little bit of a pump fake. But this time it's just a little bit of a it's just a little bit, not too much of a pump fake. But he ends up with the puck. Cheats Gustafsson over to one side and then goes to the other side. It's 2-1 in Bruins. And then it isn't. And then it is again. This is where the offside rule comes in. Matt Boldy in the second line, he put up an immense amount of pressure in the Bruins end. And after the puck gets passed around a few times, Matt Boldy ends up with the just pushing it through to tie the game at 2. Except Jim Montgomery. I almost called him David Montgomery. You could tell that I kind of paid attention to NFL free agency. Jim Montgomery challenges it, and it goes back for offsides, even though the puck was in the zone for a good 15-20 seconds after the offsides happened. And I know. After the Duchesne Duchesne goal, nobody wants to mess up that bad anymore. Nobody wants to mess up that bad anymore. So if it's offsides at all, it goes back. But at that point, the puck has been in play in the offensive zone for long enough that the offsides doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter. It really does. Give me a good reason as to why that should matter. Give me a reason as to why that should be, as to why the puck being there, as to why the offsides rule should have been utilized here. The Bruins had pretty much everybody back in the zone. They weren't caught off guard. Nobody was caught off guard. The Bruins just didn't play good enough. Defense in front of their own net, and it resulted in a goal against them. It wasn't because Minnesota was offsides. It really was not. And if you're arguing that it was, get out of here. What? Get out of here. You're wrong. You're wrong. Here's how I think it should go. I feel if a goal is to be called back for offsides, there needs to be some sort of timer, like 10 seconds in the offensive in the zone before the goal is scored, and it doesn't need to be called, and the goal doesn't need to be called back. Say you're just barely offsides and it doesn't get called, and you score, but you score 10 seconds after the zone entry. I feel like that is the part. I feel like that is when you should. I feel like that is when did this really have anything? Did that being offsides really have anything to really take away from the defense's ability to defend this puck? Maybe maybe once everybody is in that zone, then you take away the possibility for offsides review. Because I feel like the offsides review, other than the Duchesne goal, was also meant to mitigate insane breakaways and stuff like that. Which, to be fair, it does. But now players just make sure they're at the at the top of the neutral zone before getting the puck, and then they just break away. But that's my take on the offsides. It's wrong. Anyway, the checkmate line in a few minutes. The checkmate line after Zaka goes for after Zaka ends up going for slashing, and then the Bruins kill it. The checkmate line continues, is absolutely wrecking house, and friggin' who is it? Krejci tries to pass it to McAvoy, and we get a goal without a shot on goal because this absolutely bounced off of Marcus Johansson and into the net. And that ends up with the 3-1 the 3-1 goal. That ends up being the game winner. Now for the rest of the penalty is in the second period. Alex Goligoski ends up going to the box. I forget for what. And the Bruins kill it. But then the Bruins end up taking a 5-on-3. First of all, Lindholm goes for cross-checking, and that is freaking obvious. Lindholm, what the hell are you doing? You cannot shove like this. You cannot shove someone against the boards like that and expect not to be called and expect a call not to be made against you. Oh, so he ends up going, and then a little bit later, Dmitry Orlov also ends up going for delay a game for checking the puck over the glass. So we get a minute 24 of 5-on-3, and we kill it. And this 5-on-3 kill, I know that the Bruins have. I don't think that the Bruins have allowed a single 5-on-3 goal all season, but this 5-on-3 kill made me feel so good. This is quite possibly the best I have felt about a 5-on-3 kill the Bruins have had all season. All season. Because is both Lindholm and Orlov are in the box. Those are two of your best penalty killers. You put them both in the box, and you come out with 0 goals against you. That is penalty kill depth. Anyway, in the third period, Jake DeBrusk ends up going for slashing the Bruins right off the bat. Overcommit way too much, and it allows the Wild to score their second goal of the game. Marcus Johansson mucking the puck up from behind from back, pushing the puck up to freaking Frederick Gaudreau. Gaudreau passes it across the ice to Oscar Sundqvist. Sundqvist is right there. Sundqvist has a wide open shot. I don't blame Omar for letting this one in. That's not his fault. That is like, come on, your penalty kill. Come on, you just stopped a minute 24 of 5-on-3, and then this happens. You have your best penalty killers out. It's not like you lost McAvoy or Lindholm. You lost DeBrusk. I don't even think I love DeBrusk, but I don't even think that he's on the penalty kill. Anyway, this video is getting really long. Wow, 28 minutes. Marchand and Bergeron end up connecting the way they always do. Bergeron's behind the net. He swoops around. He passes it. He passes it to the open slot, and Bergeron is just swooping down to put this one behind Philip Gustafsson and put the score to 4-2. Oh. Ford F-150, final 5 happens, and Minnesota pulls Gustafsson and Charlie Coyle. He forces a zone entry. He's mucking the puck up. He wrestles for it. He gets it. He passes back to Frederick, who's the trailer, and Frederick, with his 16th on the season. I really hope that he gets to 60 to 20 this season. He ends up just bombing this one right into the empty net. 5-2. God bless. Now, tomorrow we have another game against Buffalo. Buffalo's a really tough team. Not necessarily in the sense that they'll beat you down defensively, but they'll definitely beat you down offensively. But we've already seen that sometimes that they cave defensively pretty easily. All it takes is just a little bit of a nudge, and it can open the floodgates, as we've seen with the 7-1 victory we had against them, or the 10-4 victory that Dallas had against them. God damn, 10 goals. That's a lot. In any case, that's me it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.